Welcome back to another episode of Anime Clips. And as always, we have a great show for you today. I'm Leo.
I'm Redman.
And today we're going to be talking about Blue Eye Samurai. So, this is my second time watching this anime. Redman, this is your first time around.
Yes.
What was your impression of it?
Again, this was recommended to me by a coworker who was supposed to be with us on this episode, but things came up, so he's not here. At first, I couldn't get into it with the first couple episodes. Took till like episodes 3 to get into it, just because who cares? This guy's got a revenge thing. Want to see where it goes. So far, not interested. Kind of blown back by the shock value. Oh, I'm gonna cut this dude's hand off in the beginning. Whatever. Also, that's nothing new to me. Again, I got more interested when Ringo wanted to be this dude's apprentice, who gives zero fucks about this guy and tells him go away. Which I was under the same impression. It's like, how are you going to be helpful? How are you going to do a thing? I'm like, oh, well. And then he just keeps showing up. Go away. Oh, I'm still following you. I quit my job and everything. I'm gonna keep...
Quit my job is crazy, though. Just abandoned the fuck out of his dad, too.
I'm like, well, shit. Here we go.
And under his defense, it was shitty employment.
Yeah, maybe. But the fact that he could even do his job with what he was being armless like that, I guess, it's even impressive just doing that.
So pretty much like Ringo was kind of like, okay, I'm sat, I'm here, we're good to go.
I'm here for the side character.
Fuck what the main character got going on. You just chopping people's heads off. I've seen it before. So, like I said, this is your first time watching this. My second time. I do want to ask you this question. That's kind of like a debate. Is this actually an anime?
Since I'm newbie to this stuff, so the real question, I guess, is anime just considered animation in any form, whether it's drawn, CG, whatever, or is anime a more cultural bound thing to where are we considering it to be, it's an anime from Japan, so this is traditional anime. So then if that's the case, where does it come down to with American animes in this? Are they considered anime or they have their own label? What's
based off like my knowledge, again, I'm not an expert on this shit, but to my knowledge, I think it's a cartoon, an adult cartoon with anime inspiration or anime foundation. Because if you sit here and call it anime, then you're going to call Avatar an anime. You're going to call Samurai Jack an anime, and they're not.
Well, to be fair. So if we're getting to the kind of in-depth of a question, Pokemon is considered an anime. For the longest time, I thought it was just a cartoon.
I thought Pokemon was anime.
It is. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I thought it was a cartoon because I grew up and it's on a kid's channel, and so I didn't consider it an anime at all.
Mm-hmm.
But then come to find out that's anime. Yu-Gi-Oh's anime and this stuff, and I'm like, that's anime?
Mm-hmm.
I thought these were kids shows, cartoons. So I adapted kids shows as cartoons, not whatever. Because Rugrats and SpongeBob, they're all animated, so, and they look similar to this 2D fashion thing. I'm like, so what makes this an anime versus this?
Well, you kind of just proven my point by saying that because Pokemon's made in Japan.
Well, yeah, so is it a cultural thing?
It's a cultural thing. Yeah.
Because I'm like, so if it's American thing, then, not American thing, but if they have their own animation, what's the label if it's not anime?
If it's not anime, I feel like you just said it too.
Animation is what we normally call it. Oh, that's animated. Oh, that's this. Or
I would say like an American anime. Well, you can't even say that because that's like an anime-inspired cartoon.
And then we get into stuff like CGI. So when you try to incorporate that, what do we call that now? And if it's like, doesn't Ghost in the Shell have like a movie version thing of this where it's like a CGI version of this stuff?
I've actually never seen Ghost in the Shell.
I haven't either, but they have like a CGI type movie that was ahead of its time for animation stuff, but it's a Japanese anime, but it's done in a whole different kind of animation. So is it still anime?
I think it's an anime still.
So, I mean, the other question is a manga adaptation just deliberately called anime?
What do you mean? Like if it's made into a manga, it's automatically?
So if we were to make an anime that has no mangas at all,
mm-hmm.
is it still considered that, no matter where it came
from? That's kind of tricky. Because on the flip side of that, there are American established shows and comics that have been turned into mangas. So that one's...
Because American stuff, so Japanese call them mangas and they read backwards and they do all this stuff. Over here, we reverse the direction of reading and we don't call them comic books. For their version of what we talk about, it's graphic novels.
Mm-hmm.
So it has a different label attached to it.
In the sense of literature, the style is what makes it different. So animes are more colorful. American comics are more colorful as well as they read differently. Mangas themselves are mostly black and white and read in the opposite direction to what we're used to.
But I also ask because, so even here, comics and graphic novels are similar, but they're different.
Yeah.
So versus, I don't think Japan has anything outside of just books or this. I mean, they could. I wouldn't know. But
yeah, because when you asked me that question, I immediately started thinking about the Spider-Man manga I'd recently seen in the store, or the new Harley Quinn and Joker anime that just came out.
Yeah. So, but so the question is, because Blue Eyed Samurai doesn't have a manga adaptation by any chance?
No.
Yeah. So, and it's American based. So, are we gonna call it an anime? Even though other people, when they bring this up, they think it's an anime. Now, does Netflix consider this an anime?
That's a good question.
Because they have their own labels for this stuff.
I never looked it up. I'm going to look it up right now.
Yeah, let's see, because I'm pretty sure that they categorize this in the anime section. And it's a Netflix special or show only thing.
Hang on, I have the app. I'm going to look up the hashtags on it.
I'm pretty sure. I just know it's a Netflix only thing. So.
Under genres, it says adult animation drama.
Okay. So it doesn't mean it's an anime. It just means adult animation. So.
Because if it was an anime, it would have said anime.
Should have, yeah. Because, I don't know what you know. You know who Spawn is?
I've heard of him.
Okay. He has adult animation, VHS, DVD stuff that is for adults to watch only because it's that graphic, it's that whatever. It's not for children. But it's not labeled a cartoon either. It's just adult animation. So I think it's dubbed separately than anime.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if it's considered anime.
A part of me wants to say to agree to disagree, but I want a distinct answer out of your ass.
I will. So because I got it from a coworker, the coworker's labeling it as anime. So the entire time going into this, I'm thinking it's an anime. But now that we're deep diving into this question, things are starting to not look good for this.
It was black and white when we walked in. Now this shit's gray as fuck. It really is sitting in a gray zone right now. How about this? We go through the whole podcast and we'll revisit this at the end. Yeah. At the end. So when I first heard of this anime, I was just scrolling through Netflix, and what really caught my eye was the preview, and the preview had the animation. If you guys have not seen it, it is stellar animation with 3D CGI works turned into two-dimensional. I am in love with it. What did you think of it?
Well, because I come from an older time of this stuff, I'm more of a traditional anime person. The traditional artwork, the traditional style of things. The 90s anime is where I will always sit with this stuff. So even with Trigun going to CGI with the newer stuff, seeing the new stuff in CGI stuff, to me it hits different. It doesn't feel like anime to me. Mm-hmm. And I just think it's just from the different artistic approach of it. To me, it doesn't affect the story or anything like that, or how it's being told. It's just visually, I'm not satisfied with it. Or at least they haven't gotten it to where it wows me situation. To where I'm like, I like this anime. No, it's not for the animation.
Today's my time to shine. I'm about to gush over this show. So when I was doing research for this, there's actually a YouTube clip with the team that's worked on the animation. and the creative director, Jan Woo, and the creators themselves talking about the animation and how much work they put into it, and how many different teams they had to do. There is a lot involved with animation, and it came out really well. So when you first watch this video, Jan Woo says that she wants to tell a story not just from the characters, but with the art itself. And you can see that in a lot of the scenes. Like, the setting is in the wintertime. The snow is flawless, beautiful. The action scenes are amazing. The choreography and everything just flows perfectly. Every scene is a work of art.
So going to back to this question, and I think this is where this is where I come off with it, is because I play a lot of video games. This animation reminds me a lot of video game animation that they're doing now with the 3D stuff and so on. I don't know if that's something they're trying to blend in with. Oh, let's do anime this way. Games are doing it this way. It's more 3D. It's more this. It's more that. I don't know if that's just an artistic approach that they're trying to go with this now. But I'm like, quit trying to turn my stuff into video game stuff. I'm not even playing this. So.
Well, you have to think about it from like the general public's perspective. You and I are nerds. And so we have like this array of animation that you and I are used to. This one stands out both to me and to the general population. As someone who doesn't watch cartoons is going to be like, yo, what the fuck is that? Look at the colors. Oh my gosh, the vibrant colors, and how like later in the season, like how the colors like change with the mood. Blue is like the depression. Red is for fury and lust and like royalty. It was amazing. I love this show.
I will say that they can definitely get away with more 3D type aspects with this. And I don't know for sure, but I'm assuming it makes it easier for them to do 3D stuff this way rather than having to draw someone's head 100 different ways, trying to turn around and look. But that's the only benefit I super see out of this, is for more of a 3D atmosphere, more of like, oh, I can dynamic stuff and that kind of thing, versus I have to draw this so many different ways just to make it come out.
I don't know. To me, it was just, it fit. The art style that they picked for this show fit. There's no other way they could have done this one. Like, if they did this animation with something like from, what's an anime that we watch? Okay, Fullmetal Alchemist. The animation for that would not fit for this.
I'd be interested to see how it looks.
It would look, oh, it's just a show, blah, blah, blah. No, this caught your attention.
So, I mean, I guess moving forward, because besides Trigon doing something similar, if we do run across an anime in our list that has this CGI stuff, since that's what they're moving forward to, if I find one I actually like because of that, then I will definitely bring that up then. So far, I'm just not a fan of the animation style. Not because, oh, it's attached to this or that. To me, I just see it separately.
I think the CGI aspect of animation is going in a proper direction versus like, what was it, Berserk, like a few years ago? Looked like shit. Actually, shit looked better than that. But like, there was that, and then we have Demon Slayer that does a beautiful mixture of CGI and 2D animation to this, which is all CGI. I think it's headed in the right direction.
If they could just get the right blend of it to where I'm like, yeah, I want this again.
Okay. We'll find one for you. Do you remember when she had to raid the castle?
Yeah.
That felt like a video game. I shit you not. Like, okay. So like you just said, like, the animation here feels like one of your new video games nowadays.
Yeah.
The episode, I don't know the number of it, but the episode where Mizu decides to infiltrate her potential father's castle felt like a video game. And like, honestly, like, so level 1 was like, what was it? She had to be drowned.
Oh yeah, do the water stuff. And then... I don't know. I'm actually surprised because of being a Netflix only thing. And Netflix does have a pick your own adventure stuff. I'm really surprised that this didn't turn into one of those. Hey, direction you want to take this character in?
Oh, the interactive shit. I feel like
because of the Netflix thing.
I don't really like it. I don't.
Know, but I mean, when you're gonna bring up that this feels like a video game type of situation, input right there.
I won't lie to you. On that first stop when she drowned, I was like, this is it. The show's over. Ringo is the main character now.
Yeah.
But somehow, some fucking way, she got through
This will be Ringo's revenge story. This revenge is sweet.
And then from there, it just got worse. Like, my God, woman, give up. We don't even know if he's your real father.
Oh, so that actually comes to a good topic right there. And I'm sure you have it here somewhere. But it's... So, when you watched it twice, when you first watched this, did you have your guesses if this was a man or a woman? Because they tried to conceal that for a good bit.
They concealed it for like an episode. I didn't give a fuck.
I mean, I didn't either, but I know that because my lady was watching this, and she came up to me, she's like, "Oh, do you know if it's a man or a woman?" You know, I'm like, "Do I care?" I mean, but then there were times where I'm like, "Is it a boy? Is it whatever?" Because the blind Smith dude, made it seem, but he was blind, so well, he made it seem like it was a boy, and then all of a sudden, later we find out otherwise. But
when I first watched it, I was too engulfed in the story because after that episode, she had just cut off Tygan's hair, dishonoring him in front of his own people. I was just too focused on that to even give a fuck about her gender. But I did look up the reason why they made her gender so ambiguous. It's freedom, because at this time, we're set in Edo, Japan in the 1600s. Women don't have fucking rights.
Yeah.
We barely got them in 2024. But because she has the ability to disguise herself as a man, she's able to walk through villages and travel freely. And the creators were talking about the reason that they did this was because of a lot of self-hatred that she has as not only a mixed race person, but also as a woman herself.
Yeah. I mean, what made it interesting for me was the times that she's seeming to be a man or whatever, especially when the characters they don't know. They go into the brothel house or this or whatever, and they're talking to Mizu, and I'm like, how are you going to approach this person? If you don't know, they're just going to assume you're a man and want these, and then when they find out otherwise, you're not.
Who's getting close enough to find out without losing a hand?
With that person, maybe, but I'm just sitting there going like, oh, they're going to come up to you and be like, so what do you want? And that kind of, because besides that one person they were talking to, because they kept going, what would you want while you're waiting and this and that and whatever? Nothing. I just want to talk to this person.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, yeah, but you're in a brothel house. They're kind of just... Now I'm getting curious of what you would pick while you're here, whatever. This person's just like, whatever. And then they go into that later scene with her and Mizu talking by themselves or whatever, and how she goes into, I've pleased all kinds of people. With blood taste and this and that and whatever and so on. All these different descriptions of how she's pleased people.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, you know if that's a man or a woman you're talking to?
They don't know.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, well, what would happen if they found out? I'm like trying to figure out. They don't even know who you are.
If they found out, it would be like that scene from Mulan when they found out Mulan was a girl and they were like, oh, a woman clutching pearls. But I feel like if they had discovered it, it'd be like either get out of my brothel or become employed because your journey is over.
Yeah.
Like you even see that in one episode where we see her mother again after she thought that her mother died in the fire. She was forced to go back into the role of a female. And of course, as soon as that happens, she had to marry someone to take care of her family. Her journey stopped. So yeah, she had to be a man.
Yeah. I mean, I just thought it was just weird, especially with the other stuff that happens in the show where, they're fighting. And then all of a sudden they're on top of each other. And then, feelings happen. And that happened more than once. And I'm like...
We'll come back to that later.
So.
But yeah, so the acts of self-hatred and things like that are very prominent in Mizu's character. Another thing I want to talk about with Mizu's character is the reason that we're here. So the premise of the show is the character Mizu, who disguises herself as a man but is actually a woman, is of mixed race in a time where white people are not allowed in Japan. However, during a certain period of time, there was a time when 4 white men were in Japan. trigger warning, raped someone and birthed her. And so now she's living her life under the pretense that everyone sees her as this blue-eyed monster and her life is a living hell. So now she seeks revenge on those 4 men. My thing is, the deed is done.
It's already happened.
You're here.
But the premise is, because I'm different, because of this, I'm suffering because of someone else's wrongdoing, and I'm an outcast because of it. So I'm going to take revenge out on whoever did this to me. Even though you have all these people bullying you, you might as well get rid of them while you're at it. But
Redman's like, look, man, you looking at a different problem. Take care of the immediate issue. My man Tigan, as soon as you found out he was a childhood enemy, take him out. Nah, like that was my biggest problem with the show, was the weak premise of her revenge. And like, because of that, it caused a trail of blood and hardships for her that didn't have to be there.
I'm also trying to figure out when, because I don't know, I don't remember really showing anything about it, except that this person, what really gets me is that this person somehow has all this knowledge about who these people are and who she's going after. But I'm like, when as a kid did you discover that this is the reason for this? And how did that spark you to go on a revenge thing? Normally kids don't think about these kinds of things. To go, oh, now I need to know more about who made me so I can come after them. Kids don't normally start thinking about that kind of stuff or their past kind of thing or whatever. They just deal with what's coming or learn forward and move on. Unless, like, I don't see anybody trying to go after anybody else because they were born and this is a thing.
So I think so you're basically, what you're asking me is, what sparked this vow for revenge? Is that what you're asking?
My question is, where did all this knowledge come from? Also, as a kid, you must have been really, really smart to want to dig deeper into why this is happening and so on and whatever. Who'd you get your information from?
Well, like I said, there's only 4 white men in Japan at that time.
Yeah. No, I get that part. But growing up, I mean, obviously the father's gone, and they go on this revenge thing. But it's more or less like, so who's telling you your whole story? How are you finding out more about, like, you want to know where this person is and all these other people, but how did you learn about all this other stuff?
Like, what other stuff specifically?
Like that the rape happened, this happened, and all the events leading to why she's on this revenge quest.
She didn't find out about, well, her birth gave her that idea.
Yeah.
It could have been like the whispers of the village people.
I mean, I guess, but I mean, even to me, like, even in a normal school session,
mm-hmm.
you have bullies who just pick on people because they're different or whatever. But I mean, I guess it could be an era thing. But for like example, if that was the only Asian or black person or so on
mm-hmm.
in my class, they're getting bullied and so on for that. But I don't think they're going to attribute those things as the reason they're getting to go on a revenge thing.
It was that, on top of the fact that her mother was burned to what she knows at this time to death. Now, she probably could have blamed it on like her bullies taking it, like trying to kill her. I personally think it was the mom's opioid. Like, you saw her sleeping with it and was smoking.
Yeah.
I think she accidentally set the hut on fire, somehow survived.
I mean, that's possible. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Just a huge premise to gain all this knowledge to then go on this revenge for the rest of your life.
Again, it's just fueled by a lot of self-hatred, because once, let's say, she completes her goal, what's next? All you are is embodiment of revenge. What are you after that?
What? I mean, yeah, because what is next? Besides, obviously, Ringo Chapter 2. Because I feel like this guy's got a much better story than to go forward.
I sincerely think she'll take her own life once it's over. I do think that.
I hope not. But I see it.
Yeah. But since you already talked about him, Ringo. Ringo, to me, was, you've seen the first episode that she's in this kind of like shrine praying, and asking for God to help her kill her enemies. First off, that is bold as shit because you are literally asking God to break his own vows for you to get your revenge. That kind of set the premise to me, like what kind of person this is. Hellbent. And I think as far as the show goes, the gods or whoever she's praying to sent her Ringo as like an ember to guide her in the darkness.
I don't know if I believe in that kind of thing, but so I don't know. Are we talking about Ringo like as a person or
your thoughts on Ringo?
I love this man. this man comes out of nowhere, quits his job, wants to follow this person, go do his own thing. Hey, I wanna be a samurai like you. I want what? And this dude's telling him to screw off. Hey, I don't want you. You're gonna get hurt following me. I don't care. Teach me. Do all this other. Like what? This is your story now. Screw this guy we're following. This is his story now. And then we go to this thing. She tries to get rid of the man. Yeah, go to the brothel house. I'm just gonna leave him there. I'm not gonna tell him I left. He somehow still popped up later. Say, hey, where'd you go? This guy got eyes in the back of his head. Something. This dude's following this person like a hawk.
But that's like the great thing about his character is he's just as determined as Mizu is to get revenge, to be an apprentice.
And to learn and to like be this thing that it would seem very impossible for him to do.
Seems impossible. I think the theme around Ringo is even though like there are traits that are pushed against you, as long as you have a positive attitude and you are willing to go forward, you will be great. Because there's no way Ringo will not be a great samurai by the end of this.
I don't know. like he even had a better when they went back to the Smith dude and all this stuff. Ringo was very positive and wanted to help out and do that stuff, and just like Mizu was as a kid, except more happy and whatever. And I'm like, still his story at this point. He could have the guy help him and build a sword and do all this. Well, he already proved that he could wrap something around his arm and then do a thing. He just have a whole new style of fighting. That's it. So
he very much does well of being like being kind of like the yang to Mizu's yin, being the light to her darkness, and they balance each other out very well. As an audience standpoint, I like him because he's comedic. He breaks the seriousness of the events that are happening around us. Because why are you getting naked and jumping in water? I'm on the hill getting my ass being you over here swimming.
Yeah, no, Ringo, I mean, to me, I already said it before, he's the main guy. Screw the rest of what's going on here. He's the guy you won't see coming.
He will be a great samurai. And what's crazy is people keep calling Mizu a samurai. And I like that she pretty much screams, I'm not a samurai. She's basically a ronin.
Yeah. I mean, she's self-taught. So it's not like she went under training and did all this other stuff. And she taught herself all this stuff, learned on her own. So I don't know why people would. I don't even know if they're allowed to do that or not, because I don't know what the rules are to be called samurai as far as their label calls it.
Well, as far as Mizu is, for those who don't know, a ronin, to my understanding, is a masterless samurai or a rogue samurai. Now, if you want to see like a real samurai, then we will have to follow the story of Taigen. Taigen, who decided to pick up the sword after being the son of a broke fisherman.
Yeah, but I mean, I think samurai is just more or less an appropriate title of someone with that title who's mastered the sword and gone under training and so on and whatever. I'm no expert in any of that stuff, but like when the person's literally telling you, I'm not a samurai, they just assume the sword to the person.
It's kind of...
Now, I don't know if it's a Japan thing where, I see you with a sword and you're really good with it, I'm just going to call you that. I don't know if that's how Japan was, but to me, I don't think that that's how they would, because to me, their culture, even back then, wouldn't assume that. Because even their military had swords, so I wouldn't expect them to just go, anyone with a sword is a samurai now.
But then again, also a shopkeeper wouldn't be seen walking around with the katana. Or katana, I think is how it's pronounced.
Depends on if they were selling them.
I'm weak.
I mean, if they're just selling them on open market.
Probably.
Then anybody could pick up a sword. And if that's the case, anyone who picks up a sword, are you a samurai because you picked up one? Why are they calling you these things?
So samurai have to follow like not only the teachings, but also kind of like an honor system. And we see that a lot with that character Taigen, who is determined to get like a rematch duel for the sake of his honor with Mizu. To me, he's an arrogant ass samurai, but he's a samurai.
But yeah, but that's where my question comes from is, so why does the public assume that Mizu's a samurai? Just because they have a sword? Just because they're good with it? I mean, in Japan, I don't think, cultural-wise, and I could be wrong, they would just assume anyone with a sword is a samurai.
I would think so. I think they would just assume. If I was in the 1600s and a kid and I seen a dude walking around with a sword, samurai!
A kid, maybe I get that, but the adults.
As an adult, if I was a shopkeeper and I saw someone walk around, I would assume, okay, either you're with the shogun or you're a samurai. It can go 50-50.
I mean, I don't know. It just seems weird to me that they would just go, oh, you're that because you have a sword. But
since you're so hung up on swords right now, specifically swords, let's talk about the symbolism of swords in this show. So, across Japanese culture, swords are heavily implemented as a form of defense, protection. It's the line between life and death, as Master Eiji describes it in the show itself. What I found interesting was the broken samurai, the broken sword concept, that when Mizu was in the tower on one of the episodes, and she's fallen so far from grace from like the original standpoint that her sword breaks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about kind of like the whole symbolism around the sword?
I mean, if you're talking about that sword in particular, I mean, it's a normal thing for Japan as a whole, or just samurais and stuff, whatever. I've grown up with this sort of thing. The sword is attached to its user, and it has, normally they have a like legendary name attached to these things, or it's cursed, or it's this, or it's that. And then these blades end up getting unique names or special treatments or whatever. And normally if something bad happens to the blade, it normally means that the person's done, or some extreme amount of unfortunate events or whatever. But normally it's tied to the person, and if the person either fails or this or whatever, normally when the sword's done, they're done. And in this case, they were trying to do like a thing where the character has fallen, so sword's broken. Now they have to go through this repair phase of themselves, which they did the whole thing of taking it back to the person. Oh, I can fix this. And as the master was trying to tell them, like, hey, no, you're not fit for this thing. You're not whatever stuff. And then their determination to get past that and then repair the sword and stuff would show how far they've come past that situation.
Yeah, and you're talking about like that, I want to say episode 7?
I don't remember the numbers at this point.
7, when Mizu has to let go of a lot of things in her soul in order to purify herself and to be reborn as a new samurai and to forge her new steel.
Because now that the old version of them is now broken, and then their spirit is broken, so now the sword broke. Mm-hmm. It's the whole symbolism behind it. Now, and the master's telling them how to repair it, how to fix themselves, and so on. Whether Mizu listens or not is going to be on them. But that's how they're going to become the new them, the better them, and then their sword stuff.
Because you can, I think it was like from Peculiarities, the deeper we got into this journey into finding Fowler or her potential father, you seen like how far she fucking went. Like she's, first off, collecting bodies like it's nothing. Because it was nothing. We seen her kill an innocent person, make these deals, betray people, all of these things, everything against the honor of the samurai, just for her sword to break and to have to rebuild not only herself, but also her relationships that she's broke along the way. I think what also is cool about the broken sword is Taigen was seen using the broken sword that she had made when she was a kid, that she retrieved from the dishonorable samurai from the flashback. And it's so cool for them that they implemented that and was able to say, you know, the broken sword works for you, saying how like he is a dishonored samurai.
Yeah, also, I mean, on the subject of Taigen, I also think that it was very interesting how they built up a love-hate relationship thing as this went on. Mm-hmm. Not only did she beat him, and then it went from there to now this is your rival person the whole time. And then when they were presented with, oh, I could kill you at this point, but I'm not going to. Now we're friends at this moment because we got to get past this thing. We got a bigger threat involved with what's going on. So I'm going to help you for now, but I still hate you. But I love you, but I hate you. It's a really weird relationship to have what's going on with everything else going on.
I mean, it's not that weird. Like, we see it a lot in anime, and it's even a thing in real life. It's a very literal perception of rivals. He literally says, no one gets to kill you but me, so I'll save your fucking ass. And he does.
I mean, for me, this is like a Batman Joker situation. It's those dynamics where no one else can kill you but me, but at the same time, we don't. Or, in this case, they're going to help them do this other stuff. The thing is, like, I'm new to anime, so I don't see this stuff. So that's new. Where you're saying, oh, that happens all the time. I'm learning this. This is nothing new to me. To where this is like a reference to now. But
yeah, and so like with the state of their relationship, their fates are intertwined. They are destined to stay together, whether as rivals or what's hinted in the show as lovers. Because as we see in episode 1 or 2, when Taigen gets up to leave to go find Mizu, he takes the red scarf. And then at some point during the interaction from the tea party, Mizu takes his scarf and is seen wearing it when towering the castle and going to the brothel.
I mean, I think they'll be lovers by the end of this. But
I think they will, because, again, where is Mizu going to go after this?
Well, if she kills herself, then, like I said, then it becomes Ringo's adventure story to get revenge on everything that happened.
She'll either kill herself or she'll get into a relationship with Taigen, because he says at the end of the final episode, I don't need to be great. I just want to be happy. And then Princess Akemi's like, I want to be great. We're done.
Yeah, we're done.
We're done. Speaking of which, Princess Akemi, voiced by Brenda Songs. If you guys don't know, remember who Brenda Songs is. London Tipton from the Disney Channel show Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. It's so weird to see a Disney princess play this role.
Playing another princess.
It was mind-boggling to me, because I'm like, you got range, girl. But what did you think about the princess?
I liked her as a character. I like the stuff where, oh, I'm this higher up person, but I'm trying to show you normal people that it's just a status. It's not like a thing. And she has to prove all this to them and do all this stuff. And even going to being the brothel house person and being like, yeah, well, you're going to do this because you work for me now. I don't care what your status is and all this other stuff. Just the fact that she's trying to be normal, and then the later stuff happens when she's supposed to have the wedding. She brings all those people with her. But like, yeah, you guys are my friends now. I'm going to treat all you people the same way. And all. No one should be like, we need more characters like this.
So my first go around with this show, I didn't like her. I thought that she was bratty. But that's just because I was just watching the show for Mizu and for the animation. But now that I'm watching it for the podcast and I have to pay more attention to the characters outside of the main character, I will describe Princess Akemi as a very complex painting. Painting that if you go to the gallery, you see a point blank, you get one perspective, you see this bratty princess who gets whatever she wants, blah, blah, blah. That's how the world sees her. And it's like, why are you complaining? You're about to marry the shogun. Literally the most powerful person in this realm. But then if you step to the side with the painting, you can see like another perspective of it. And you can see how a golden cage is still a cage. And you can understand that she is a hostage and that she is well beyond her time in her voice and wanting to be more than just a wife. She wants power for herself.
That, and she's voiced more than once that I don't want that guy. I don't want to have that dude. Why does it have to? I mean, then again, we're talking about an era thing where your parents marry you off to whoever, whatever. And
they Seki her real father. Fuck her daddy. Shit. How the fuck did he survive is what I want to know. But he tells her straight up, you are a woman. You have two options. You can either marry the shogun or marry into a noble family, or you can be a whore. You have no in-between option. And what's interesting about her character is that we understand that at a certain point, her mother died. Her only female figure in her life passed away. So now she's surrounded by all these men who are telling her, you have only these two options. And it takes her going into this brothel and meeting other women and meeting Madame Kaji to tell her, hey, yes, you have these two options, but there is power within the options that you choose. And you can take that power because men are weak.
Yeah, you can clearly see that in this show. Unless you're Ringo. He's got all the power.
My man Ringo. Peaches.
But, yeah, no, I think she probably has the most broadest character in the whole thing. You get to see her from a high point to this point. She gets to do everything. She gets to be the princess. She gets to be the brothel person. She gets to show you all this, what it's like to be on both sides of whatever.
When I first watched it, I didn't understand what black teeth meant.
Oh.
I was like, what is that? Did you ever research it?
No, I didn't know anything. I was confused too. I was like, is this a cultural thing that I'm just not understanding? I didn't look into it at all. But then you brought it up, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure this has significance in some way. I don't know if it's from the story perspective. I've seen this before.
Okay, because I was scared. I was like, when I first watched it, I was like, what do you mean blacken her teeth? That don't sound healthy. So basically, they literally take some charcoal or something, and they blacken the teeth to show that this is a woman of nobility or whatever. And looking at that and understanding Akemi's character is literally putting a collar on a dog saying, like, you're fucking mine now.
Oh, yeah. Totally not what I would have thought. Not what I would have thought at all. I thought it had some other thing, because I've seen in other, I wouldn't say anime, but other shows and stuff, sometimes other culture stuff, they just have single black teeth or whatever. It's just there. I don't know if it's just due to poor hygiene or this or that or some kind of other thing. And I'm like, unless this has some kind of culture reference, I don't know what we're doing. But
nah. Like, this show takes a lot of real world historical aspects from the Edo period, and they implement it because there was so much love and research put into the show. The blackening of teeth, the brothels, and there's a scene in the episode 4, Peculiarities, where Princess Akemi is forced to meet with this lord, and he wants to have sex. She doesn't. So she intellectually stimulates him, and she lists off a bunch of poets that she read as a kid, and one of them is Okono, I'm going to pronounce this wrong, Okono Komachi, who was a real poet in real life. And I did some research on her. She's one of the 6 immortal poets from the Edo period, Japan.
That's a lot more research than I would have thought had gone into this.
But it just shows that she has the ability to have the power to control men. She just needs to learn to use it.
Well, even I was surprised. The dude, like, she got this dude off without having to really do much of it.
It'd be like that because Madame Kaji said it best. These men don't want to fucking be powerful. They want to be fucking babied. There's literally a guy crawling on the floor.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's still true today.
It is. In a lot more ways than you can imagine.
Yeah. Other things that I learned for the sake of the podcast for this show is the difference in, like, I learned about the brothels for this show because I was interested in the character of Madame Kaji, like a very strong woman in a world where women are not meant to be strong.
She's also supposed to be, she's also a businesswoman in her own rights of what she's doing. She has to control these people. She has to tell them what to do. Here's your job. This is what we do. She did a really good job of explaining all of that to them. It's like, this is what we do. This is what they want. This is what you give them. Look over there. There's that squid thing. There's that thing over there. That person's into that. This person's into blood. This person, like, all kinds of stupid stuff that you might have to be subject to being here. You work for me now.
You want the job? Mrs. I want to run away from home. That really what it was.
But I'm sitting there thinking, like, yeah, but when you sign up for sex work, what else are you expecting? Because this is kind of what you're getting into. People have different tastes. So.
But because I was so interested in Madame Kaji's character and the brothel itself, I was able to do some research. When you hear the word geisha, what do you think?
Isn't it that dress thing that they wear?
Geisha, so that's a kimono that they're wearing.
Oh, okay.
But a geisha, I used to think was a prostitute. And I thought the entire time that these women were prostitutes, or geishas, I should say. Turns out geishas are actually just entertainers. So they do the dancing, the tea ceremonies, and everything like that. They do everything except for the intimate acts.
Oh, okay.
The people we see in the shows are actually courtesans.
Okay.
They're the prostitutes.
So it has a whole different name than. Okay. But then how has the other name been associated to what you thought it was?
Because Western society, we don't know the difference.
We don't know, so we're just gonna say that's what it is.
I mean, to be honest.
Well, I mean, that's just kind of what we do as Americans anyway.
But that was like kind of like the fun part of preparing for this podcast. But since we are talking about brothels and Madame Kanji, let's talk about like her deal she made with Mizu. I want to bring up that deaf girl because, bro.
Oh man, so I really didn't feel like it needed to be done. I was more concerned with the fact of when the child saw Mizu and then was like, "Is he gonna rat me out?" And I'm like, "What do we do? It's a kid."
Well, take it back a couple steps. Before that, when she was put on this mission to go and kill the deaf girl because Madame Kaji thought that she was miserable being under this lord's service. And so she goes in. She gives the sign that she was told to give. The girl's deaf, so she can only sign back. Yeah. She's like, she gives the sign and she's like, no. I was like, oh. And so then like there's that part where they're hugging each other and this like she thinks Mizu is a man. So the one time in her life that she finds security in a man who she thinks is going to help her, kills her. Like if you were Mizu in that situation, you had that choice to either follow out, do this deed to follow out your revenge, or let this person live. What would you have done?
I didn't even think it was right to go and kill the deaf person at all, who can't speak for themselves in a normal fashion or whatever. Her reasoning for wanting to get this person dead, I totally forget the whole reason why she wanted her dead. For I don't know if it was selfish reasons of, oh well, I really love her, but this has to happen. Like, well, if you really like her, couldn't you just find another way out? Couldn't you just find another way to make this happen and get Mizu to help you do it? Or why do you have to do it this way? I personally thought killing her was pointless. But
they do explain why it was necessary to kill her.
I just can't remember the details of why.
I got you, buddy. So basically, Madame Kaji explains the reason why she wants the deaf girl dead is because the deaf girl had expressed to her that she never wants another man to touch her again because she came from like an abusive household.
Yeah. But I mean, that's why I said have Mizu help you sneak her out, do something. Like you have this power of the brothel of hiding people and whatever. You don't have to have another man touch her. You could just hide her away. You could just whatever, bring her over here. The princess came over here and did, if you love her that much, have somebody help you get what you want, and then whatever. Having to kill the
he would have came and like attacked her. And fucking I lost. She explains that if she was to kidnap her from the Lord, then he would know it was her, and he would have came in with all their men, which happened anyway.
Yeah. But I don't feel like it would have ended. I don't feel like it would have. Oh, it's her. Like I think she just took it to an extreme thought process.
No, they would have known because he understands. She says he likes things that look fragile. He knew she was precious to her. That's why he took her. My question was, why did you take her there that day? That's what I didn't understand. I
mean, I still think they could have found another way. That's my opinion. I don't think they had to go that far. Especially if it's damned if you do and damned if you don't. He got caught. Here they are anyway. Oh, we're going to kill them all and fight them right here now anyway.
Listen here. If it wasn't for the punk ass kid, everything would have been cool. We would have been on our way to the castle.
I'm just saying, like, because, he didn't want to fight those guys, and he ended up doing it anyway.
Bro. So let's go back to that kid, because that's actually a topic I want to ask you. Would you have killed the kid?
Me, personally, probably not. And it probably would have ended up in the same fashion it was in. But at the same time, because if it was not a kid, yeah, I probably would have done something. But at the same time, because it is who it is, you're like, do I kill this person? Are they going to say anything? It's a kid. What did he see? Well, how is he going to say this? Who's going to believe the kid? That's another.
They did, apparently.
Oh, no kidding. But I'm like, a kid just randomly comes up to you and says, I mean, not only that, but like for this person, obviously the blue eyes and whatever gives it away. but it's more like the kid being able to describe who this person is to whoever he's telling to rat him out and to assume it's that person. Then again, the only person with blue eyes. So
Yeah. Me? I either would have killed him or cut his tongue out. Is one of those two options. He was not getting off scot-free.
I'm surprised he didn't do. Well, he would have had to chase him, I guess. I was gonna say just kidnap him.
That's messy. Because then you gotta worry about the family, the search, and it's like,
But for how long?
Well, she's trying to leave the next morning.
No, I get that. But if he would have just kidnapped the kid for the night, just let things whatever, and then let the kid loose, or threaten him or something for the entire time he's with him, and say you don't say nothing, the whole incident wouldn't have happened right then and there. It could have postponed the problem that had occurred.
Yeah, but then like all the brothel would be killed. First off, I want you to understand something. Mizu is the definition of a Mary Sue character. Do you know what that is?
I used to.
What?
Someone explained what a Mary Sue was before to me, and it is now lost.
So a Mary Sue character is like mostly a heroine who has little to no weaknesses and pretty much prevails. Mizu is the definition of that because many times you should have died. I'm sorry. There's no way that you can have multiple men with a heavy ass door on your body. You just happily be able to just slip your way out. Ain't no way.
That's what we call his plot armor.
To the first off, in that fucking tower, I won't let that tower go. You're hopping around here with a bad leg. You're just leaping distances and shit, and you're carrying you're scaling a building with a grown ass man on your back. Yeah. Like there's no fucking way. Oh shit!
The first time they ran into the bad guy and he did all that, I thought it was gonna be over then. I'm like, dude. This guy has a gun and he just did what he did to you, and you got this dude on your back trying to get back up the thing. This ain't gonna work. If it wasn't for plot and stuff that this has to make it somehow. Pretty sure the bad guy already won doing his job early.
To be honest, in the flashback, she should have been dead because you got stabbed in the side. You should have died.
Plot armor.
Plot armor's crazy, bro. What else is there to talk about? I feel like we hit everything on my list.
I mean, I like animes that don't have as much plot armor, or better yet, that gets explained as things happen. That's why I got so mad with the ending of Soul Eater on the anime part. Well, I want to punch you with courage. That's literally how it fucking is. They built it all the way up to the hero losing, and that's how we end this.
Did you ever come up with a character to roast?
Oh, for this? Shit, no, because it's hard to, like, I don't know, because the princess isn't bad. The main character does their thing, but they're cool, so whatever. And I like the older Smith guy, and even the bad guys, like, cool. So I don't even know. The only people, I don't know their name, but I guess...
I know who I got. Shit. I got beef with Mizu's mom. No. So, we're going to be implementing a new segment in our podcast, the roast section, where we pick a character that we just want to talk shit about. I hate her mother.
Well, go ahead.
First off, bitch. How the fuck you gonna die, quote unquote, and come back 10 times worse? Bitch, you came back the problem because why the fuck are you just trying to tell Mizu, hey, you gotta get married. To help me, you need to sell your pussy. To an ugly man.
Well, isn't this also the thing where they got that house, and then Mizu was with that one guy with the horse thing, and then her mom comes up and was like, oh, I need this stuff from in town, and then she has to pick between this dude or his or her stuff, not both. And I'm like, why you gotta be rude? Why you gotta be like that?
She's a drug addict. She was on opioids.
I know, but I'm like, as you said it already, oh, come back worse. It's like, I think you were better off just dead then.
To be honest, no, it's like, why are you like this? Like, most parents would be happy to see their kids after so long. No. She guilt tripped her into marrying that man. And then, like, you can see how Mizu is not a housewife material instead of sitting there on your ass and judging her, help the bitch.
Yeah.
I
She's
hate
probably
that.
the best person to roast at this point.
I hate that bitch. Ooh, I can't stand that.
Because otherwise, just the bad guy selling the guns to the Japan people. It's like, oh yeah, they're coming. I'm gonna get you this great ass weapon that's gonna defeat all these people and all this other. I'm like, you're selling them guns. They don't know anything about guns. Of course, this is gonna look like magic to them. Of course, this is gonna be great. You can kill somebody from way over there. These guys are used to cutting people up and all that kind of stuff. So the fact that these people are like, oh yeah, I want that. Even though you had a tradition of this stuff, not to let the white guy come in here and change how your ways are, you're letting him do that. Why are you guys letting him change your ways? Why are you were told strictly not to do this?
Who are you talking about specifically?
I don't know their names. It's there's because there was like a group of them. So there was the
Shogunate?
Was it the Shogun he was trying to sell this to?
The Shogun has no idea of the plan, but there was the advisors of the Shogun.
Yeah, them.
Okay.
Because they're the ones that are trying to get this stuff to show it off to the Shogun to be like, hey, we should get this stuff. But Fowler is the bad guy. But the thing is, I don't blame Fowler at all for doing this. He's like, hey, I got a weapon for you. Here you go. But they had strict rules not to let these people from overseas, the white man, come over here and change their ways or try to convince them of all this other stuff.
I feel like in a lot of media, once you become Shogun, you are always the target because everybody wants your power.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're in charge.
Yeah.
So
you're a higher power than a king because you make the laws, basically.
But yeah, I mean, if you had strict orders to just not do this stuff, and you were told to, but for some reason you think this is a better idea, and you're just going to go against your people and get them this stuff anyway, and then they had plans to overtake the thing after they got it, that's just going to obviously change everything.
In so many words, you just said that man deserved to be shot.
That's what I said. But if anyone needs to be roasted, is that you can't listen to your boss? Oh no, I'm going to become boss once I take over.
Fowler is a different type of guy. Like, he was a really good villain. When I liked in the scene when Mizu is in the tower and they're meeting each other face to face for the first time, and there's like this really long scene where we look at Fowler's eye. That was the foreshadowing, like, dude, that is not the father. It's like, green eyes, the show's called Blue Eyes. I don't think you're the daddy.
There's actually a pretty interesting quote right here from Fowler. It says, nobody makes a better blade than your people. No one invents better ways to kill people than mine. A gun will never be as beautiful as a sword, but with a gun, you can take any sword you want. Said by Fowler.
I'm finding the urge to say some colonized shit right now. I'm finding the urge, like, he's right!
But that's how he sold them on this stuff. It's like, yeah, swords are cool. No one makes them better than you. But with my weapons, you can have as many of those as you want. You can do whatever you want.
And if you pitched that to me at that time, I would have been sold too. Like, you right, get the contract. Like, he's such a good villain because he's so real.
He's a good talker. As for looks, I'm not impressed.
No one is. But no, like, I feel like he's such a good villain to me because he's an actual person that we see in life today. Like, that level of charisma and sadism working together to make some sort of evil.
Yeah, and he can sell pitch you anything he wants.
He really could. I was like, oh God.
So
I was almost sold in his speech when I was watching it.
Oh, that's why he looks that way. I guess he's from Ireland.
Yeah, you didn't hear him?
Well, I knew he was England, but I didn't know where, like, from.
He's very grotesque. Because, like, that meal he showed them with, like, the rotting milk and whatever. And then the scene where the courtesan had the Oni mask in his ass.
People are into
things,
I tell you.
But no. Now, he's good. And I really do wish to see him again in the next season and see what he does.
Well, I'm interested to see what he does because he's literally using information as a way to live. So what's going to be funny to me is I wouldn't be surprised if he's lying his way to live, and he gets away and not killed, and then goes and tells the person, "Hey, I just lied to you to get here," and then gets away, and now we have to go on this whole quest to killing him
I promise you. I promise you. Mizu won't let him get away. This man, you've seen the things he's capable of. He ran out that fire and said, this guy is crazy. That's a lot coming from him.
It is, but at the same time, he was willing to die with the information he has. So I'm like, oh, so do you really have anything to say to this person? Because you really just need him to navigate where you're going. That's it. But this dude can literally just be like, I just lied to you to get me home.
We're just going to have to find out in season 2, aren't we? So, what are your predictions for season 2?
Besides the one I just made, Valor doesn't die. Maybe we get another side character with Mizu and Ringo.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe say robotics isn't a thing yet, so I'd be like, well, maybe Ringo gets like arms or something, or builds like mechanical stuff to help him do things. Should definitely get blade arms. I would be happy.
I could see him with like that claw thing. Those guys that.
Oh yeah, those are katars.
Katars.
Yeah,
I could see him with those.
K-A-T-A-R. It would help him because he doesn't have to worry about his hand getting in the way of the blade or anything. So I just don't know if those are in that time period.
Yeah, because they had him in the show.
Well, I know that, but I mean, to where he could get one besides stealing them from them.
Got it.
Or unless he just built one, it'll make it way longer. Yeah. And then probably Ringo just obviously he can't become the main character, but that's where I would want to go.
So for me, I think the Shogun's now dead. Okay. Princess Akemi will find a way to have heavy influence within the reforming of the lands. And I feel like in the process, she will become corrupt and somewhere like her father. Because that's typically what happens.
So that's what I was going to wonder what was going to happen was, since we're going to be going to a whole nother country, is this now going to turn into where, oh, this episode, what's happening over here? In this episode, we're following the main person.
Probably.
That would be kind of annoying. But considering we're just basically following Mizu the whole time. But,
I mean, that's what we were doing anyway. We're following Mizu and Akemi, and then they met in the middle.
Yeah. But they kind of have like, we're going to end up in the same situation. I don't see us coming back over here by the end of season 2.
So that's the thing. It'll be a slow descent for Princess Akemi because we're having a 4th season. Yeah, the creators have a 4th season plan for the show. I think sometime in season 2, we're going to see Ringo and Taigen again. And I think they're going to follow Mizu to London because Taigen's still hell-bent on his rematch because at this point, what does he have left? He has no nobility. He has no honor to this point. He has no girlfriend. All he has is his rematch. And then I think Ringo will just follow because that's the apprentice. As far as Mizu's story goes, I don't know.
How many of these 4 people do you think she's going to kill?
3.
In season 2?
So one of them, in the first 30 seconds, we see one of them is killed. So there's 3 left. So I think the first 3 seasons are going to be about that. And then
1 person a season?
Probably. And then I think 4th season will probably be her regaining peace and finding herself outside of her revenge. So after everything we said, back to the original question. Is Blue Eye Samurai an anime?
It has all the story plot points and whatever, but then you can just do anything. Doesn't matter. Anime or not. I'm gonna say yeah.
You gonna say it's an anime?
I mean, this could be highly controversial question.
I'm going to stick to anime-inspired cartoon.
That's probably the better fit for it.
So.
Also, adult-inspired cartoon, because this is not.
Oh, God, please don't let your kids watch this shit.
Big mistake.
Oof. So, Redman, what is your final rating on Blue Eye Samurai?
Oh, so this is just season 1. If this is where we had to leave it, and it was never coming back, I give it a 7.
A 7.
Almost a 6.5, but I'd say a 7.
Okay. I am completely in love with this show. So I immediately give it a 10 out of 10.
Oh, that's a high one.
Oh, yeah. So.
We'll see if the seasons change that.
All right. So, guys, that is our episode for today. Thank you so much for sticking around with us. Please be sure to like, comment, and share on all our social media platforms, Instagram, YouTube, and Spotify. And we can't wait to see you all for the next episode.
Break down.
Jesus Christ.